What's going on, everybody? Hope you had a good weekend. So, the ROG Ally Accessories sold out so fast at my local Best Buy. It seemed to sell out in under an hour. And that could be a good sign or a not so good sign. If I look back at tech that didn't make it by the release date, I'll most likely be thinking about the PDP Pro BFG controller, which got delayed about 3 times. And that controller also had an open pre-order slot before release, and seeing how fast the ROG Ally Accessories sold out, I'm hoping that isn't the case with the Ally itself. But it does seem like this system is in high demand regardless, since I was trying to get the case, which is about $40, and that sold out within 40 minutes at my local Best Buy and a couple other ones within the hour. So I had to travel about 20 miles just to get that case. And strangely enough, after it sold out, it showed that it's going to be available again by June 3rd, but my local Best Buy shows June 8th. So either my local Best Buy, which is in a busier area, doesn't receive as many shipments as the other Best Buy, or they receive bigger shipments which takes more time. Either way, it seems like there are other Best Buys in my area that can deliver faster than my local one. But as far as ASUS's plans, I'm assuming they plan to make more systems than accessories, and it seems like they're just focusing on producing the handheld itself and continuing the shipments of the accessories slower than the actual handheld. Or it could just be part of their plan to make the accessories at high demand to make their money back. Both are possibilities, but most likely by June 3rd and 8th, there are going to be even more shipments of these accessories, including the $150 ROG controller, which is supposed to be a companion piece to the handheld if you want to play it docked. And surprisingly, that controller sold out around the same time at my local Best Buy, right away. At first I thought maybe people just wanted that cheap $40 case, but that expensive controller sold out too. It is a cool controller, I wouldn't mind having it, but I'm already spending enough on the Ally itself to get something as expensive as the ROG controller. But seeing that, there's no question that there is a demand for this device and its accessories. I just don't want to go through anything like I went through with the PDP BFG controller, with delays after delays. But this is just me subtly worrying, since it most likely will actually be in stock that day. But I'm still surprised ASUS supplied so little accessories. It's also possible they're producing them slower than the actual Ally itself, which would make sense they would start selling them a few weeks before the console release. They most likely have a smaller, concentrated group working on the accessories, and the rest of their product line being manufactured by the rest of the company. And the 28th was most likely the first shipment of many for the Ally's accessories. There will be 2 or 3 more. So by release date, most if not all people who pre-ordered them will have a case. It makes sense to do it that way, but seeing it sell out shows that there is a high demand for this handheld. I just hope the demand doesn't exceed the supply. And ASUS can also be testing the waters to see how many pre-orders versus how many cases they need, since they are going to make money from these cases. So if the case is sold out for you at your local Best Buy, don't freak out. There will be a lot more shipments versus demand and pre-orders. And by the looks of it, it's going to be a continuous supply line of cases and controllers. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded if they included an ROG keyboard with it, like a miniature one that magnetizes to the handheld. That would have been cool. Hopefully ROG releases down the line. And it seems a bit messy right now, but I'm sure there's going to be accessories readily available for anyone that buys an ROG Ally outright in person. It obviously seems like the Ally's accessories are important to them to make their money back. So selling as many as possible and shipping them as fast as possible will probably be a big focus for this handheld's launch. But in retrospect, it is pretty crazy how fast it sold out. I'm just happy there are accessories with this handheld. It seems like the support for it is already at an all-time high, with updates coming out to the drivers and the proprietary software. And the Ally actually has an official controller for that extra bit of compatibility, which is great. If you're using a third-party controller that suits you better, that makes sense, because that's what I'm going to do. But I bought the case, and I think it's a very well-made case. I thought it would feel kind of foamy and cheap, but it's actually very high quality. The only thing it's missing is a microfiber cloth, but I know those are supposed to come with screen protectors. Another strange thing is that ROG isn't selling screen protectors. Instead, you have to order them online through a D brand, which is a bit weird because most companies sell screen protectors at the store they're selling the handheld in. And I wouldn't mind an ROG microfiber cloth. I, strangely enough, collect different types of microfiber cloths to use for different devices like Nintendo Switch and colors that coordinate with the device itself. It's weird, but I do it, so it would have been incredible to have an ROG themed microfiber cloth as well as a case, but the case itself is awesome. I think it's one of the coolest cases I've ever had for any system. And yes, that is counting the Steam Deck, because that case is just humongous. The ROG Ally's case is much smaller than the Steam Deck's initial first case. So it was cool to unbox. And the box it came in was stylized as well. I didn't expect it to come in such a cool box. It had a holographic logo, like with every other ROG product. But the thing is, I haven't seen an ROG product with a stylized box in a long time. So to see that was refreshing. I remember getting an older gaming laptop, which was ROG back in 2016, I believe. And that came in like the coolest box I've ever seen. And usually gaming laptops come in an external box and an interior box. That was the external box, which I'm referring to. Now with gaming laptops or anything like that, it usually comes in just a pitch black box or a white box that says nothing except for the label on the side stating that you got the right product. It's kind of a letdown to have these products show up in those types of boxes. So to see the ROG Ally case come in such a stylized box was pretty cool. I didn't expect it. It's a small thing, but it matters. And going to Best Buy and picking up that pre-order case was refreshing too. I haven't done that in quite a while. I've just been receiving things from online orders. So to have an actual box in my hand from a store like Best Buy was a cool experience. And I can't wait to pick up the actual ROG Ally when it does release. And hopefully the pre-orders will meet demand, so I won't have to wait around like I did with other products, because those accessories sold out fast, and it seems the handheld is shaping up to be quite the device. So I am excited to see where it goes. I know there's already starting to be some third-party software with it that lets you adjust the TDP automatically, which is a software I'm most likely going to jump on. The Fox made a video where he's kind of messing with that a little bit, and it's a Windows device, so you can pretty much install and work with any software, unlike going through Proton's compatibility layer just to have the software not be as compatible as it should be. And most likely any software made for Windows that directly has an effect on hardware isn't going to work with Steam Deck. It's just going to run that software and it won't be compatible with the actual device since it is going through that Proton layer. So it is great to have those tools at our disposal at any time, like 3D Mark and other benchmarking tools, overclocking tools. And as long as I'm on the subject, it's strange to see a lot of people comparing the GPD Win 3 and the Aya Neo and the One X player to the ROG Ally, since those devices are made by vastly smaller companies that make a new model every 6 months or so. What are we up to with the Aya Neo? Plus Air, Pro, Plus Plus? I lost count and I can't remember what name we're up to. And when comparing the performance with something like the ROG Ally, this is ROG's first handheld. It's not even out yet. So comparing the performance and the power saving techniques will be a bit flippy floppy since ROG is still working on updates actively, and that's the reason why they gave people early access products. It's so they can get as much feedback as possible to see what they have to fix. And sure, there are some things that they should have known they had to fix from the start, but it's not like they weren't already working on some updates for the device beforehand, so those reviewers can eventually see the update and notify everyone that yes, the performance has improved. And if there's anything the reviews are actually showing me, it's that Asus and ROG are working hard to support this handheld actively, which is great. I hope when ROG and Asus do come out with updates, they really think about everything before releasing it, and they work as hard to improve as many features as possible per update, instead of just fixing like the keyboard or something small every single update. They could release minor updates here and there, I don't really mind, but I do want them to take their time, because there are some times where there are SteamOS updates and it will fix one thing but break something else. It's like they didn't think about the update before they released it. Sure, there's a lot of updates, yay, but there are a lot of updates. It seems like they were working on it so fast they would straight up mess up third-party games and controller support for that. But there are a lot of options, especially when it comes to PC handhelds. I'm just saying they should think about the updates before they release them. But it's going to be interesting times for handheld PCs and handheld gaming in general. I feel like whatever Asus does with this handheld, they will get a huge following and a lot of support, especially for the fact fact that it is Windows based and it's sort of a new mainstream handheld opposed to Aya Neo and the GPD Win handhelds. ROG will get a lot more support because it is readily available at stores physically, and Asus is a huge brand. But I do hope that they just focus on this handheld and make it as great as possible, because from what I can tell, it is as powerful as it needs to be in terms of specs. But they should update it to make it more capable with lower TDP and more power efficient while using those high TDPs. Maybe they can have a mode officially that fluctuates the TDP automatically, so it can adjust accordingly if the game isn't as demanding in certain areas. But the system hasn't even released yet, and it's already getting these crazy updates and third-party software support. So I can't even imagine how it's going to be when it actually releases in literally 2 weeks. Asus has a lot of work to do with this handheld, so I hope those reviewers give them plenty of feedback to work with, because their accessories are selling like hotcakes. So Asus can see right there that there is a high demand for this device and even its accessories. But yeah, it's looking bright for the ROG Ally. And what do you guys think about all this? Are you trying to get your ROG Ally Travel Case? Has it sold out for you at your local Best Buy? Do you think Asus can meet the demand of pre-orders? Because we only have 2 weeks left until the system is released and will effectively change a lot for PC handhelds in terms of accessibility and just mainstream appeal. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good one. Later.